So today, lads, we're going to be talking a little bit about the WNBA CBA and Natasha Cloud, who, let's be completely real, is probably the number one face of burn it down in the WNBA. Like, let's be real. No matter what you want to say about Fee, no matter what you want to say about anyone else, Natasha Cloud is the face of, or is the face of the burn it down movement. Basically, what the burn it down movement is, we don't need the WNBA. We're fine without it, and almost hinting towards, yeah, we're good with this league not existing. So, which is weird because ironically, Natasha Cloud, she's got what, 3 more good years in her. She's going to be a near max contract player next year. She could make $2.5 million in 3 years. The league just happens, which is more money than she's made in her career by a mile. But like, I don't know. But let's take a listen.
We're not worried as the players. If I'm going to be like frank and honest and transparent, we're not worried. All the power is in our hands. We have never had a moment.
By we're not worried, she means the 30 players that are in Unrivaled, or the 40 players in Unrivaled. Because let's be real, like, there is no way. People are like, oh, they're getting paid $200K. There is no way they're paying Hailey Van Lith $200K to sit on her ass. There is no way they're paying Monique Billings $200K. There is no way they're paying Rachel Banham $200K. Like, and by the way, also, for the players playing overseas, people need to realize this. People are like, oh, players get paid millions overseas. No, they don't. Diana Taurasi, when Russian oil money was funding it, got paid $1 million once. Liz Cambridge, because of a billionaire that owns a team in China, gets paid $1 million. Like, if we're being real here, these players get paid. I mean this when I say this. Most of them get paid sub 100K. But if you get paid 75K to go play overseas, and you get paid 75K in the WNBA, that's 150K for a year to play basketball. You're not, and the good thing about playing overseas is you don't pay for your food, you don't pay for living expenses, you don't pay for anything. So everything you get in salary is right into your pocket. And that's the one benefit from playing overseas, is that, like, you're not paying any of your living expenses. So you get 150K, and even the WNBA was paying for housing. You probably have team chefs. You're probably getting 150K straight into your pocket before tax, obviously. But with no expenses, that comes out as probably the equivalent of 200K, which is still a decent chunk of money. But if that money turns to 75K for 9 months of the year, then you start to weigh it up, when it's like, with the risk of potentially getting fired at any time, with the travel risk with being on a country and a lot of the times that don't speak the English language. There's going to be, I've said this plenty of times, the players she's not worried, but you better believe I'm just trying to think off the top of my head, a borderline rotational WNBA player. And by AU players make 20K. A borderline rotational WNBA player that isn't well known. Who's playing overseas. And to be honest, there's no point talking about specific situations because I don't know anything specifically from players. But at the end of the day, there are situations where players are going to end up. They're like, oh, the players are fine. So I don't know. The players in Unrivaled are fine, because the thing with players in Unrivaled is they will at least be able to continue their pro basketball careers. Whatever about holding out, maybe they can get more money. It's a calculated risk on their part. There are players, I'm not going to say 100 WNBA players, because it's not, but there are 50 WNBA players that, if the WNBA goes into lockout, will seriously have to contemplate retiring. And these are not old players. These are players in their early 20s that will have to contemplate retiring, because it becomes the equivalent then of, if you guys don't know, the hoop dreams, the players who come out of college and in the men's side, and they start playing, they go overseas and they play like third tier in France or top tier in Ireland or second tier in England, where you're trying to like cling on to those hoop dreams, and eventually most of those players, a lot of time in their early 20s, just decide, look, it's not worth it anymore. It's not worth it anymore. Let me go and just get a kickstart of my life, because for every year I'm chasing these hoop dreams, I'm setting myself back a year in my job. Without the WNBA, because even with the WNBA's current salary structure, the ability to play in those overseas leagues and the WNBA, even if you're making 70K in each of them, when it's all said and done, yeah, that's worth it. That's worth chasing, trying to work your way up, because you could then, if you work your way up to 150k in WNBA, you could probably get similar enough money to overseas, if not a little bit less. You're still working for 200-300k a year to play ball. Like anyone would take that job. You're not setting yourself back enough. If anything, you're able to earn up money. But if there's no WNBA for the vast majority of players who are not going to be making six figures on their overseas or Unrivaled contracts or AU contracts, they have to contemplate retirement. Like, I would say 75 will. I say 50 will have to contemplate. I think 50 will retire. I think 75 to 100 would have to 100. And by the way, there's about 150 players in the league would have to contemplate retirement. I think it's at that stage where the majority or 50% of the players will have to contemplate retiring from pro basketball if there's a lockout, because the league is no guarantee to come back.
And like this, where there's been so much momentum, where there's been so much investment, demand of our sports, and I'm just kind of like upset, frustrated, all of us, and in a lot of ways just like disgusted with the W and how they're handling this and their lack of value, their lack of worth for us, their lack of.
They value us enough to lose 500 million in the last 30 years. Like, I just mean that, like, to be honest, if we're being real, they put 500 million into us. They value us enough for that to keep the league afloat. Just, that is, like, as much as you want to say, is it biting them in the ass right now in terms of revenue? Absolutely. With the league thriving because of one player, it is absolutely biting them all in the ass. But let's be real. It was a charity. The NBA's charity is the only reason that league exists. Like, we have to be honest here. Yeah.
Even trying to attempt to move the needle with us. Like, we know what is on the horizon. We know in 2 years our TV deal is up and there's a new TV.
When they know what's on the horizon. Caitlin Clark's got injured. Like, that's the worst part, the crazy thing about this. And if you want to say, oh, look, Unrivaled filled with 21,000. Well, like, yeah, it's a one-off tour. Like, you better believe when Project B comes to a non-WNBA city, they're going to sell out their arena as well. As well as that, they gave out like 100 free tickets nearly to Cal Copper. Like, they were giving out, I'm not saying they gave out, but they gave out thousands of free tickets. And again, the fact that people still showed up in 21,000 is incredible. But like, they give thousands of free tickets. They're talking about a record because they could put extra seats on the floor because the court is smaller. And they were giving away tickets. Like, the fact people showed up when they were giving away tickets, the WNBA couldn't even do that 5 years ago. So that is actually impressive. But like, it was a one-off. Like, Unrivaled viewership is not even in the top 100. It is down 70% on last year. It was bad last year.
Deal that's going to come that they're not even putting on the table for us. The percentages, if we actually told you the percentages of what they're giving, that they're like sending to us.
We know it's like they've said 15%. The league wants 50. The players want 50. The league wants 15. Like, it's we've know the percentages.
It absolutely piss y'all off. So like, just know when we are standing firm in our feet and 10 toes down, there is a reason, and we will not move until y'all move. So I'm gonna look directly into the camera too. We will not fucking move until y'all move.
Yeah. So she's basically like, yeah, you know what? We're not moving. And the players, and that is everything that's been reported, by the way. Everything that has been reported by the journalists is that the players are refusing to budge. And that the reason why the league aren't responding is because the players sent back the same proposal again. So the players sent a proposal, the league gave a counter proposal, the players sent back the original proposal again, and they said they weren't moving, so the league just said, fuck it, we're not engaging. Like, she's essentially not confirmed, but she's heavily implied that rumored structure of events is probably true. It's probably true. And look, at the end of the day, the league is, the players in Unrivaled might take down the league, and it might, like, Unrivaled, it talks about this. I think the Unrivaled is good for the 40 players, but it might actually be the reason why women's pro basketball doesn't exist anymore. Like, Unrivaled is not going to last more than 5 years. Because people are like, oh, Unrivaled needs to keep doing this with Philly. They need to become like a traveling thing instead of sitting in Miami. The only reason Unrivaled can afford to pay the players what they're paying the players is because they're all in one set location. The overheads and the operating costs of Unrivaled are tiny. People still aren't watching on TV. The TV deal is the main thing. Because if you guys don't know, you don't make that much in gate revenue unless you sell out every single arena. And I'm sorry, it was a one-off novelty. It's not going to happen. Yes, you might sell out. If Philly doesn't get a WNBA team, you absolutely might sell out in Philadelphia. You might sell out in Philly once a year. But like, if you went to, I'm just trying to give a big WNBA city. If you go to like a Cleveland or something, it's not selling out. Even though they're getting a WNBA team soon enough. It's not going to sell out. This was a one-off thing, and fair play. Absolutely fair play, but like, it's this constant thing of like no sustainability with the WNBA players. Like, Tash Cloud later on basically said, oh, look, 21,000, basically pay us. And it's like, well, like, one, there was 21,000 people again. It was a one-off. We saw in Iowa had 55,000 people watching a game. You wouldn't have 55,000 people at every game for Iowa. That's the thing. It is very difficult to do something sustained. It is not that difficult to sell out 20,000 seats in a one-off event. Leeds United had 55,000 people at a pre-season game in Ireland. If Leeds played every single game, and if Leeds played, and they played, it was their first pre-season game in Ireland in whatever, 15 years. If Leeds played every single year pre-season in Ireland, they would not sell out more than 20,000. They would not sell more than 20,000 because the novelty, everyone flew over to Ireland. It was the novelty thing. Yes, it was a novelty thing. And fair play. Fair play for what Unrivaled did. But they're not going to be able to do it again. Because the viewership is not there. Because I'm sorry. There was literally 30,000 people watching some days. There were more people at the game yesterday than there were watching the game on Monday on TV. Do we know how crazy that sounds? That is mental. Most of the people that showed up yesterday aren't even watching on TV. So that TV deal is going to get ripped up. The sponsorship deals are going to get ripped up. But yeah, is what it is.